Downing Street.
Yes, yeah.
And so that must have been a huge sense of accomplishment on your first novel.
Yes, it was. Thank you. I mean, 2008 was the National Year of Reading, and the National Trust. I just had a phone call from National Trust people and asking me to go to Downing Street to collect the award.
Right. Okay.
And I couldn't believe my ears, really.
Well,
Yeah.
I guess I mean that's the best kind of acknowledgement.
Yeah, it was. It was the best thing that happened to me. Yes. Yeah.
We're speaking to Hema Marchela, the author of Brit from the River Manjeera. You're watching Broken Silence. We'll be back after this short break. Hi, welcome back to Broken Silence. I'm Sanyya Gardez. Today we're talking to Hema Marchela, the author of Brit from the River Manjeera. And the interesting thing about this book, Hema, is that it covers a lot of the themes, a lot of the topics that we've covered in Broken Silence, and a lot of subjects that we hope to cover in Broken Silence.
Yeah.
Now, before we go any further, we've been talking about women and the plight of women. Your novel centers around the plight of this one young woman who faces many hardships. And right from the beginning, where she's had the arranged marriage to coming here and marrying a British Asian, it's all stuff that women, our audience, can relate to.
Yes.
And all stuff that we have at one point discussed on the show. Now, before moving for any further, we want to say that we're not trying to say that all men are women haters or that all men are abusive, but the sad reality is that there are a lot of women who have been suffering in silence because they don't know where else to go, because they don't know that there is support out there, and because they don't realize that it's wrong.
Yeah.
Girls are just taught that once you're married, your husband is almost like a demigod.
God, yes.
And when you get married, you are gone. That's it. You only come back. If you're dead, you come back in a coffin. That's it. You don't come back home.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Yes.
Now, our hope is for Broken Silence and for this particular show, and I guess for your book as well, that women realize that they don't need to suffer this abuse, that they're not alone, and that there is hope, and you can rebuild your life.
Yeah. Yeah,
what are you working on your second novel?
Oh, this is a completely different story. I mean, again, the main character is a woman, but it's set in 1920s India.
Oh, right.
When British were ruling India.
Why do you? Well, obviously you're a woman, so you can relate to the central character. But do you think that it's important to discuss the plight and life of women?
I think so, yeah. I feel that because I'm a woman, again, it's easier to write about women's point of view than a man's point of view because I'm a woman. I could understand much more.
Well, let me ask you this. Why do you think this book was important for you to write?
This one, I couldn't help but write this book after I have already said that when I mentioned to you that I met these young girls who came from India and very innocent and couldn't speak a word of English, and they have been suffering a lot behind the closed doors, and they didn't have any freedom at all. So I strongly felt that, I mean, people should know about these things, that these things are existing even in this country, in this age. I mean, so I strongly felt that I should write about these things, and I couldn't help but.
Were you surprised coming from India, where you were exposed to these kind of, hypocrisies that exist?
Yes. Yeah.
Were you surprised that that's carried over to the UK?
I was so surprised because I didn't think that once you come to this country, and I thought that people will will understand other things as well, not just only those issues at home. But then I didn't think that they'll carry those things even to this country as well. So I was really surprised, and I was so shocked.
Yeah.
I knew some people were suffering in India. Some girls were suffering in India. I knew a couple of girls even in India who suffered a lot. But then I didn't think that it happens even in this country.
Well, I think for every woman that, you encounter that it has suffered some sort of abuse, there's 100 more that are invisible and whose voices will never be heard.
Yeah, That's why I wanted to write this book, because I wanted that those women to come out of their cocoons or whatever, and then be strong and take their own life into their own hands and be positive about their future.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I guess also the interesting to mention about not just this book, but just South Asian women in general and married life is that, the importance of respecting your elders
Exactly.
is
That's
obviously it's a
right.
very
Yeah,
important thing, and that's
yeah,
one of our
it
things
is.
in our culture that I value the most.
Yes.
That having that respect for your elders and for
Yeah.
your parents and for
Oh,
your in-laws.
yes.
However, I
Yeah.
think the underlying
Yeah.
thing is, yes, you
Yeah.
give your respect to somebody who's older than you.
That's right. Yeah.
But once they misuse that, then that respect is broken.
Yeah, it is.
So we shouldn't be just offering it blindly to somebody
No.
who's
No,
beating
not
you.
blindly following those things, because, as you said, our culture is very rich and morals and ethics, so many good things to learn about. But this one thing, I mean, treating women like this is blemishing that, isn't it? It's a sad thing, actually. Yeah.
And just experiencing this show and doing this show and the guests that we've had on this program so far, the guys that we've had on the show and that we've spoken to while we were putting the show together are of one opinion before the cameras start rolling and say something completely different once they're on air. Because even though a man might feel a certain way,
exactly, I'm not surprised.
they realize that thinking is wrong, yet refuse to change it. So even when we did our show on men who marry women from India and Pakistan, the people that were on the panel or the people that we spoke to before the show were of the opinion that, I want to marry somebody who's Sidi Sadi and who won't answer back, who'll take care of my family and who'll be a virgin. But when you put those same people on a stage, they'll say completely the opposite.
Yes.
So a man knows that there's the difference between what he's saying and what he's thinking is there and that it's wrong.
Yes, yeah. I think they do know. Again, these things are brainwashed from centuries, and it's maybe for them it's very difficult to change, but they should change. I feel that, yeah.
So hopefully, we will have people that are watching that will pick up Brit from the River Manjeera and will be able to see the strength of the main character and know that even if you've been abused and you've suffered and you've been through hardship, that you don't have to do it alone.
No.
And there is help out there, and you can overcome and rebuild and move forward.
Oh, yes.
It's been really inspiring to read about Neela, and it's been really enjoyable to have you on our show today, Hema. I really enjoyed this book, and I look forward to reading your upcoming novel.
Thank you, Sanyya.
You've been watching Broken Silence. I'm Sanyya Gardez. I'll be back next week, same time, same place.